Hello everyone, my name is Aiman. Now I want to present our land economy group assignment. So our group chose land use as our area of concern, and I will talk about the land use and how it connect to urban economic development. So let's start with a simple introduction to the topic. So what is land use? Land use means how we use the land for things like housing, farming, transportation and factories. It is very important in cities because it affects the economy, the environment, and the people. So, what is land use important? So, as cities grow, especially in countries like Malaysia, managing land property is very important because if we don't, it can lead to problems like losing farming and green spaces, harming the environment, and forcing poor people to move out of their homes. So it is so obvious that urban development is needed to the economy, but it also brings challenges. For example, like damage to the environment and loss of the trees and plant. Other than that, like big gaps between rich and poor in access to land use and resources, and unplanned or careless development that makes life harder for everyone. So in this study, we will look at the reason for land use problem and their effect. Other than that, we will use research and report to understand the situation better and suggest ways to use land wisely and sustainable in city. So this research is important because it helps on balancing city growth and protecting nature and fairness for all people, and give good advice to leaders and planners for better plan management. So to sum up, the land use is a big part of city development, but it comes with challenges. So in our presentation, we will explore this problem and share solution for better land management. So now let's move to the next part.
The first of urban development issue that relate land use is urban gentrification. What is urban gentrification? Urban gentrification is often perceived but as a complex and multifaceted economy phenomena reflecting the imbalance between economy, need of social priorities in urban planning. Okay, in this issue, I will talk about the process of land use transformation with urban area where neighborhoods previously inhabited by low incomes community will convert to more affluent space due to development and raising economic value. This is because many infrastructure development was developed in this area, which is many invested to invest infrastructure like luxury condominiums, shopping mall, in public amenities to attract amenities. Okay, to attract investor and high income resident. Okay, and this is can make the urban development investor strategy because maximizing the use limited urbans and land through public infrastructure and green space investments. Okay, and can make the demographic and economic changes, which is conversion of this area into upscale housing, change to social and physical structure of the area, and I think also can make the neighborhoods identity. This is because gentrification shapes the identity of neighborhood, creating new dynamic in urban demographic. Okay? This issue can make the cause that is the elite area development on social and economic imbalance in urban area. The first thing I will talk of this causes is development of elite area. the first thing first, I talk about the causes is development of elite area, which is park, shopping center, and entertainment facility act a key driver of gentrification. Okay, and also can increase in property value, which is development of green infrastructure raises property value in surrounding area. Okay, and attraction of high income resident. This is the main point, because attraction of high income resident is very highlight, because overall people know that developed area attract to high income individuals to settle in this neighborhood. And the last is can economic pressure and low income community, which is good. So next is talk about the effect. So what the effect for this issue and causes? Okay, so the effect is income gap, inequality in access to urban resources in the era of gentrification. This is because often widening social gap, which is gentrification exacerbates the social gap between upper, middles, and lower class. Okay, which is, and also this, for example, can income disparity, like B40 income RM 3,440 for B40, M40 RM 7,694, and T20 RM 15,867. This is statistic I get from journal to highlighting significant income inequality. Okay, this is the widening social gap. Okay, and also we talk about the rising cost of living, which is urban development lead to increase the property value and living costs, attracting high incomes professionals. Okay. So what the solution that recommended to use? That is collaboration of multiplier stakeholder enhancing access to affordable housing in Malaysia. Okay, and the last thing is can make the financing initiative and sustainable development. This been flexible financing schemes and sustainable housing development to achieve affordable housing goal. That's why the solution very recommended to solving this issue.
I will explain about issue that related to land use, which is accelerated anthropogenic activities. Accelerated anthropogenic activities refer to intensified human actions that drastically change land use and land cover, especially in rapidly urbanization areas. For example, like Kuala Lumpur. These accelerated activities is driven by a growing population and the demand for economic development. To cater to these needs, vast green spaces are replaced with built-up areas like residential, commercial, and industrial zones. Accelerated anthropogenic activities shape our cities. Let's build a future that's not just big but also sustainable.
Causes of urban land use and land cover changes on land surface temperature in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. First, rapid urbanization. Urbanization happens when cities grow because more people need places to live, work, and use services. In Kuala Lumpur, green areas like forests and parks have been reduced by 68% between 1990 and 2022. Their spaces were replaced by homes, business, and factories. Losing green spaces is harmful because it removes habitats for animals, reduces clean air, takes away relaxing spaces for people and makes city life less healthy and comfortable overall. Second, land surface temperature. In Kuala Lumpur, the temperature of the land surface has been increasing over time. In 1990, the average temperature was 22.9 Celsius, but by 2020, it had risen 26.2 Celsius. This increase is mainly because more green spaces like parks and trees have been replaced by building and roads. As more concrete and asphalt take up space that absorbs and trap heat, making the city hotter. This is called the urban heat island effects. So this rise in temperature shows the importance of making cities more sustainable. We need to find way to grow and build while still protecting the environment, such as by keeping green space or creating new one in urban areas. This is balance essential to ensure the city development does not harm the environment or its people well-being. Number 3 is green spaces and water bodies into urban lands. In Kuala Lumpur, the amount of vegetation like trees, plants has decreased a lot of the years. In 1990, 41.91% of the area was covered by plants, but by 2022, it has dropped to just 13.28%. Even worse, water bodies like rivers and lakes now cover less than 1% of the city. This is because many green areas were replaced by building and other high density developments. As a result, many plants and animals have lost their homes, leading to a loss of biodiversity, and this is also means that the city doesn't get importance benefit from the nature, like helping control the climate and cleaning the air and providing spaces for people to relax. The loss of greenery and water also increases absorb rainwater. At the same time, the city get hotter and surface temperature rise. All of these changes make it harder for the city to be sustainable in the future.
Hello everyone. My name is Aisha, and today I will be discussing the significant impacts of anthropogenic activities of land use, which is focusing on deforestation, industrial activities, and infrastructure development. These activities have profound environmental, economic, and social consequences, which I will briefly outline. One of the most significant anthropogenic activities impacting land use is deforestation. Forests are frequently removed for urbanization, infrastructure development, or agriculture, leading to several environmental and economic consequences. Deforestation causes soil degradation, reducing the land's water retention capacity and overall productivity. This not only impacts ecosystem but also reduces biodiversity as natural habitats are lost when forested areas are converted for other uses. Furthermore, for deforested areas often become less productivity, negatively affecting forestry and agriculture, which rely on healthy land for their resources. The economic burden of repairing degraded areas and mitigating the consequences of deforestation also places a financial strain on urban economy. Next, which is industrial activities. Industrial activities are another major contributor to land use degradation, often resulting in soil pollution. improper recycling of hazardous materials, chemical spills, and pollution reduce the economic value of land. As polluted areas cannot be used for residential, recreational, or agriculture purpose. Contaminated site, known as brownfields, require comprehensive treatment processes before they can be repurposed, which increase costs and delay economic projects. Moreover, polluted land frequently causes health issues among nearby population, lowering worker productivity and increasing public health care costs. Now, we move on to the next part, which is infrastructure development. Infrastructure development, such as road construction, often requires the conversion of natural or agricultural land into urban use. While infrastructure is essentially for connectivity and economic growth, it often leads to inefficient land use pattern and disrupts natural environment. Converting fertile agricultural land reduces the area available for food production, which can raise food prices and negatively impact urban economies that depend on affordable agriculture inputs. So, anthropogenic activities such as deforestation, industrial population, and infrastructure development have far-reaching impact on land use, leading to environmental degradation, reduced productivity, and economic strain. Addressing these issues requires sustainable practices and policies to balance development with the preservation of natural resources.
Okay, next, I will discuss how state land use policy can address the impact of accelerate anthropogenic activities. These policies are vital for protecting ecological sensitive areas and ensuring that development happens sustainably. Let's dive in. To begin with, let me emphasize why land use policies are so important. They help us balance the need for economic growth with the necessity of protecting our environment. Without this policy, development can lead to irreversible damage to ecosystem and biodiversity. Now, moving on to key measures that make land use policy effective. First, the establishment of buffer zone. These are protective areas that act as a shield around sensitive ecosystems. For example, buffer zone can help prevent activities like deforestation and mining from encroaching on critical habitat. Next, land zoning. This ensures that development in specific areas is carefully planned. For instance, in national park, zoning prioritizes environmental protection, ensuring that areas remain pristine. Furthermore, prohibition on land use change is especially crucial in areas near coral reef or coastal zone, restricting activities like coastal conversion help prevent overexploitation and protect marine ecosystem from destruction. Lastly, comprehensive environment impact assessment or EIA. Before any development project begins, an EIA is required to evaluate the potential environmental consequences and outline measures to mitigate them. This ensures informed discussion that prioritize sustainability. Having discussed the measure, it's equally important to talk about enforcement. Without strict enforcement, even the best policy can fail. Laws such as rainforest conservation law must be implemented and monitored consistently. Strong enforcement ensure complaints and discourage illegal activities that from the environmental. Let's look at real-world example. Buffer zone. Around tropical rainforests have significantly reduced deforestation in some regions. Similarly, land zoning has successfully controlled urban sprawl, preserving critical habitat and protecting biodiversity. In conclusion, strict land use policy are essential for addressing the impact of accelerate anthropogenic activities. Measures like buffer zone, land zoning, EIA, and enforcement help achieve a balance between development and environmental sustainability. So, let's act now. Promote sustainable planning and enforce policies that protect our planet for future generations.
Next, issue that related to land use is associated with rapid development. Rapid development can be defined as the quick transformation of land use and infrastructure that is a hallmark of modern growth. Driven by the population increases, urbanizations, and economic expansion. This phenomenon is reshaping landscapes across the globe. In rural and semi-urban areas, rapid development often means converting agricultural lands and forests into built-up areas. Homes, businesses, and public services take priority as communities strive to improve living standards and access to opportunities. Take Guar Cempedak, for example. Once known for its vast agricultural lands, the area has undergone dramatic change. Expensive fields have given way to housing projects, commercial hubs, and highways, all to meet the demand of a growing population. Rapid development is inevitable, but it doesn't have to be reckless. With sustainable planning and community involvement, we can create spaces that are both prosperous and environmentally sound.
Focuses of urbanization and land use changes in rural town at Guar Cempedak, Kedah. First, the rapid population expansion driving fast development. So, as the population grow quickly, there is need to build more houses, road and services, especially near big city. To make space for all this development, forests and farmland are being turned into housing area. This help meet the demand for more buildings and infrastructure, but also causes problem for the environment. When forests are cut down and farmland is built over, many animals and plants lose their homes, leading to a decrease in biodiversity. This means there are fewer different species of plants and animals in the area. Additionally, with less farmland, it becomes harder to grow enough food, which can affect food security, making it difficult for people have access to enough healthy foods. So while development help the cities grow, it can also harm the natural environment and the ability to produce food. Second, environmental and physical factors play a significant role. So, environment and physical factors have a big impact on how land is used. For example, land that is close to utilities like water, electricity, and road is often chosen for development because it's easier to build on. Areas that are harder to access or don't have these services are usually left undeveloped. However, if there is no careful planning, this kind of development can cause problems. Building on land without thinking about the environment can lead to the loss of natural habitats for animals and plants. It can also lead loss of natural it can also lead to running out of important resources and create environmental dangers like pollution or flooding. That's why it's important to use land in a way that is sustainable, making sure we protect the environment while still allowing for development. Number 3 is economic activities. Like growth of the business and industry have led to more urbanization. As cities expand, there is a push to build near transport road like highway and railway. to make it easier to move goods and people. This has caused agricultural lands for use farming and forests to be turned into commercial area, such as office, store and factories. Between 2006 and 2020, there was a big increase in the amount of land use for commercial purpose. While this growth helped boost the economy by creating job and business, it also means that natural land are being replaced with building and infrastructure. This change can harm the environment and reduce the availability of land, farming or nature.
Alright, move on to the next part, which urban economic development is deeply shaped by how land is used. Inefficient land use driven by rapid urbanization and poor planning leads to wasteful sprawl, loss of vital agricultural land, and growing social inequality. These issues weaken cities' ability to thrive economically and sustainably. Urban sprawl and scattered development aren't just inefficient, they are expensive, stretching utilities, transportation and services over vast low-density areas, drain resources, and limits funding for schools, healthcare, and innovations. This type of unchecked growth slows progress, while leaving cities financially stretched. When cities can't meet housing demands, informal settlements spring up in unsafe areas like floodplains and steep slopes. These communities face poor living conditions and are highly vulnerable to disaster. Beyond the human toll, these irregular patterns weaken urban economies and deepen divides between the privileged and the marginalized, stalling cities' potential for growth. Cities often prioritize businesses and industrial zones to boost jobs and attract investment. While this sounds like progress, it often comes at the cost of displacing communities or destroying environmentally sensitive land. Worse, poorly located or planned industrial zones can undeliver on benefits, leaving behind inefficiency and damage instead of prosperity. About economic impacts of urbanization. Urbanization brings opportunity, but it also comes with a cost. Poor land management leads to land degradations, rising infrastructure costs, and a reduced supply of affordable raw materials. Misplaced industrial areas or disconnected businesses help purchase transportation and logistic costs, choking economic growth and stifling innovation. The unequal allocation of land sharpens division in society. Wealthy groups secure prime urban land with access to services, while marginalized communities are pushed to undesirable locations, limiting their access to jobs, education, and healthcare. This inequality reduces productivity, sparks social tensions, and holds back economic progress. Cities stand at a crossroad. Will they continue with unsustainable land use practices or will they embrace smarter, fairer planning? To thrive, cities must balance economic growth, social equity, and environmental sensitivity. By optimizing land use and investing in inclusive planning, urban areas can secure a future where both people and the economy flourish.
Okay, next I want to talk about how a smart growth strategy can address the challenge issue about associated with rapid development. This strategy emphasizes sustainable urban planning to create efficient, people-friendly communities while managing growth responsibly. To start with, let me explain what smart growth means. Smart growing it is an urban planning approach aimed at preventing uncontrolled urban sprawl by focusing on high-density development, mixed land use, and public transport integration. The goal is to ensure sustainable growth that benefits both people and the environment. Now, moving on the key component of this strategy. Firstly, High-density development this involve building upwards such high-rise building, make the most efficient use of land. By doing so, we can reduce the need for extensive development and preserve open space for future generations. Secondly, mixed-use development. This allows residential, commercial, and recreational activities to coexist in one area. The benefit is twofold. It reduces the need for long-distance travel, which alleviates traffic congestion and expands strength community bond by creating vibrant, multifunctional neighborhoods. Thirdly, public transport integration. A well-connected public transport system. Thirdly, public transport integration. A well-connected public transport system reduces reliance on private vehicles. They minimize traffic congestion, lower air pollution, and make cities more sustainable and accessible. Next, let's discuss the benefit of implementing a smart growth strategy. To begin with, it reduces to uncontrolled urban expansion by promoting high-density and mixed-use development. We can manage urban growth more effectively and preserve natural landscape and agricultural lands. In addition, it enhances environmental sustainability by reducing land use and urban sprawl. This strategy minimizes ecosystem degradation and helps combat climate change. Moreover, it brings economic efficiency by focusing development within existing urban areas. Infrastructure costs are lower and resources are utilized and effectively. Finally, it improves the quality of life. Dense and mixed community create more pedestrian-friendly space, encourage social interaction, and provide residents with better access to amenities, making city more vibrant and livable. In conclusion, smart growth is a powerful solution to address the challenge of rapid development. By prioritizing high-density development, mixed-use space, and public transport integration, this strategy not only ensures sustainable growth but also creates better urban environment for everyone. So let's work towards smarter urban planning together. We can create sustainable cities that support growth while protecting the environment and enhancing our quality of life. So let's work towards smarter urban planning. Together, we can create sustainable cities that support growth while protecting the environment and enhancing our quality of life.
As mentioned, the area of concerns of our group is land use concern toward urban development. Moving on, what urban economic development issue related to the area of concern? Firstly, it is the underground land use development always been out of scope of concern when we talk about land use development. Underground development is also as vital as surface development for maximizing land use, mostly in crowded cities where land supply is scarce. Now, what are causes to that issue? Firstly, it is the growing number of people and humankind's evolving wants and desire for our living place necessitate more space of all types. Furthermore, the increasing public concerns toward conservation and quality of life are putting at help to unfettered urban expansion at the ground level. How this affect the urban economic development? Underground space is frequently used to open up development and alleviate urban issues such as lack of open space and traffic congestion. Underground space development is critical in making underground spaces one of the solutions to urban problems.
Firstly, traffic congestion. The necessity to relieve traffic on city streets is arguably the most well-known issue. This is due to public transportation have risen very drastically over the years. Underground facility can be really handy. As example, an underground railroad can save times by easing the automobile congestion during peak hours. Secondly, pollution and noise. Automobile pollution and highway noises are acknowledged as urgent issue. It frequently happens at high level of vehicle noise and exhaust pollution. Lower the value of residential real estate next to freeway. Underground road can reduce noise and pollution by trapping it underground. Thirdly is protection toward natural disaster. To reroute stormwater or increase runoff, underground river can be built. Number 4. Lack of space and preservation of heritage and environment. Via exploring underground surface, we can maximize land use not only on the surface but also the underground area. Via keeping the surface space free and create new functional space, preserve existing building and cultural heritage can be kept. And lastly, utility and infrastructure. Underground utility have numbers of significant advantage, especially in urban setting. As example, it heighten the aesthetic effect, enhance safety and dependability, and most importantly, longer lifespan, which can cause lesser maintenance. These are the suggestions to overcome or improve the issue. Firstly, enhancing the use of smart tunnel. We can develop more smart tunnel in other places that receive high rainfall rates and places they are regularly affected by flood, as example Kelantan and Terengganu. Places like Melaka and other tourism attraction, city could develop an underground tunnel to avoid traffic congestion, especially during holidays. Number 2, acquiring public permission. Permission from public for using their underground land must be acquired before starting any development project. We can provide compensation for the people as trade for entering their land during the development process. And lastly, a proper planning for underground development. Proper planning is the most vital state for developing underground development. Factors such as budget requirement, local authority approval, documentation, tendering, and duration of project are decided during this period. This is to ensure workability and fluency of the process. This is the one real case study about land use concern which is conducted in Turkey. Now, for the causes and issue of the real case study. Causes. Problem arise due to increasing in population and migration from rural area to urban area. Other than that, country inconsistent terrain. They faces such difficulty to maximize their land use. Not only they must focus on their people needs to provide a more residential area, the sector of industrial and commercial also require it demands for better economic progress. The issue. Firstly, the overpopulation in Turkey, where there are 76 million people, covers about 7,800 kilometers. The rural population have decreased, dropping from 30% to 6.6%. Social and economic divides, interior and coastal area in Turkey. Large number of migrants to Istanbul. They moved to Istanbul for improved living condition. Lastly, the declining population density. Now, moving to the methods and the result from the real case study. The method uses are land use analysis, regression analysis, and land use projection. Land use analysis result it changes how the land use in Turkey, where the residential, commercial, industrial, green spaces in the city, transportation infrastructure, region used for mining, building and dump site construction, and mineral sites, and industrial commercial property had their biggest modification, followed by residential land, transportation infrastructure, and urban green spaces. Despite the 2001 and 2008 economic crisis having an influence on the building industry, most regions, with the exception of rural areas, saw development in built-up area between 2008 and 2018. For regression analysis result, residential land use model, the coefficient shows that each unit increases in population, there is a 0.006 unit increases in residential land demand. However, the industrial and commercial land use model, the growth of the industrial and commercial land use model is linked to GDP growth, where the coefficient indicates that a unit increases in GDP leads to a 0.00005 unit increase in industrial land demand. Lastly, for the land use projection, in terms of residential land, Istanbul, Bursa, and Ankara shows the highest projected value, while regions in the north, center, and east have the lowest projection. For industrial land, in Istanbul, Ankara, and Izmir have the highest projected value, while the provisions in the north, center, and the east show the lowest value. Overall, the study demonstrates the considerable regional difference in urban land use projection, with the linear regression method often yielding the highest estimate.
Audio Jungle.